Cultural strength refers to the degree of agreement among employees about the importance of specific values and ways of doing things. If widespread consensus exists, the culture is strong and cohesive. If little agreement exists, the culture is weak. Sometimes a strong culture can encourage the wrong values and cause harm to the organization and its members. A strong culture increases employee cohesion and commitment to the values, goals, and strategies of the organization, but companies can sometimes have unethical values or values that are unhealthy for the organization because they don't fit the needs of the environment. A strong culture that does not encourage adaptation can be more damaging to an organization than a weak culture. Cultures can be thought of as either responsive or resistant. As illustrated, responsive cultures have different values and behavior from resistant cultures. In responsive cultures, leaders are concerned with customers and with people, process, and procedures within the organization that bring about useful change. In resistant cultures, leaders are concerned with themselves or their own special project, and their values tend to discourage risk-taking and change. An organization's culture may not always be in alignment with the needs of the external environment. The difference between desired and actual values and behaviors is called the culture gap. An important step toward shifting the culture toward more adaptive values is to recognize when people are adhering to the wrong values or when important values are not held strongly enough. Culture gaps can be immense, particularly in the case of mergers. Despite the popularity of mergers and acquisitions as a corporate strategy may fail. Some experts claim that 90% of mergers never live up to the expectations. One reason for this is the difficulty of integrating cultures. Organizational leaders should remember that the human systems, in particular the norms and values of corporate culture, are what make or break any change initiative. In Corporate Culture and Performance, Cotter and Heskett provided evidence that companies in which leaders intentionally managed cultural values outperformed similar companies whose leaders did not. Companies that succeeded have leaders who pay careful attention to both cultural values and business performance. Exhibit 14.3 illustrates 4 organizational outcomes based on the relative attention leaders pay to culture, values, and business performance. For example, leaders in Quadrant C of this exhibit pay little attention to either cultural values or business results, and the company is unlikely to survive for very long. Leaders in Quadrant D are highly focused on creating a strong culture, but they don't tie the values directly to goals and desired results. Quadrant A in Exhibit 14.3 represents organizations in which leaders focus primarily on bottom-line results and pay little attention to values. This approach may be profitable in the short run, but the success is difficult to sustain over a long term because the glue that holds the organization together, that is shared cultural values, is missing. Companies that maintain success over the long term have leaders who fit into Quadrant B. They put high emphasis on both culture and solid business performance as drivers of organizational success. Quadrant B organizations represents high performance culture, a culture that is based on a solid organizational mission or purpose, embodies shared responsive values that guide decisions and business practices, and encourages individual employee ownership of both bottom line results and the organization's cultural backbone. In Quadrant B, companies' leaders align values with the company's day-to-day operations, hiring practices, performance management, budgeting, criteria for promotions and rewards, and so forth.